Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Sorry about the rosy cheeks. I've just come back from a ride this morning. It's really warm out. But anyway, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing and clicking the like button down below. Today I'm going to talk about something because it's Tuesday. I thought we could call this maybe Tip Tuesday, or as Peter McKinnon does, 2-minute Tuesday, although I don't think we can keep this to 2 minutes, but we'll try. Today's topic of choice was a question somebody asked me. Actually, a local bike rider asked me because he's going out to watch the Tour de France. He's going out to ride some of the long climbs, the Alps, the cols, whatever you want to call them. So if you're doing that, or if you've got a friend, this could be for you. So the question is, how can I make big climbs easier? And I feel like I've not got big climbs around here, like where I live in South Wales. A lot of the climbs are kind of between the 5 and 10, 15 minute mark. We haven't got anything that's, you know, over an hour or half an hour long. But I've definitely raced on some of those said climbs. Like I've raced in Portugal, where we've done climbs over an hour long. I've raced Mount Fuji, which is around about 40 minutes from the very top, from the bottom to the very top. But today I'm going to share with you a few tips or tricks that you can use if you are heading out and riding these sort of climbs. Some of them you would have heard of before, but some of them are more practical examples from my own experiences, so maybe you've not heard of them before. So when it comes down to climbing, generally speaking, the lighter you are, or the lighter your equipment, or the lighter your bike, the faster you'll go. Hence why, you know, there's a lot of companies now, a lot of bike manufacturers coming out with very light bikes. You can spend a lot of your well-earned money these bikes, the equipment nowadays, but obviously reducing your weight is very tricky. And I wouldn't, like, I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm not trying to play one on the internet. I'm not trying to play a sports nutritionist. Whatever I tell you on this channel, whatever information you've ever got from my vlogs in previous, and if you can go back and check out my hill climbing series vlogs, which if you're here watching because you love climbing, then those might be of interest to you. If you spend money in the right places, so I've been told that especially rotational weight, and this is getting very geeky, like almost a bit like how, you know, guys nowadays are leading the way in aerodynamics and things like that. The rotational weight of certain items can make a massive difference when climbing. Now, obviously the faster you go, the more of an impact these things have. So just as an example, if I'm tearing up a climb at maximum capacity, I could be doing, you know, anywhere between 25 and 30 kilometers an hour on a 5% gradient, which is fast enough to start reducing a little bit of aerodynamic drag. But the rolling resistance also comes into play on things like this. So you can spend money on tires. You can spend money on the small things and the weight of your shoes. Like the difference between, say, a £100 pair of cycling shoes and a £350 pair of cycling shoes can be as much as 200 grams in weight. Or if we're talking in rotational weight, it can make an even bigger difference because your shoe is actually going around a fixed center point, which is the pedal. Now the pedals are something else as well. You can save 100 grams on a good pair of pedals. You can also save a lot of weight from wheels. So wheels would be your next big selection when going uphill fast. So on power, the more specific way of improving power is actually in the gym. I'm not a personal trainer. I don't play one on the internet, but there are certain articles, there's certain research that's been done that does actually say that lifting heavy weights but low repetitions can actually improve that explosiveness or that short-term power that you're looking for to get over maybe the shorter climbs or the steeper pitches in the longer climbs. So for example, you could shoot for 3 to 4 sets of 2 to 4 reps. And 2 to 4 reps is actually really, really low, but if you're lifting as heavy as possible, now again, bearing in mind safety, you need to have the correct form. So if you are in a gym, find somebody who knows what they're doing, a personal trainer, or even if you've got a friend that has some sort of, training knowledge of the last maybe 10, 15 years of going to the gym, then they might have a really, really good idea and might be able to help you out. You're looking at compound leg movements, so you understand the stuff like squats, leg presses, leg extensions. These things under maximum stress and maximum load for very short reps can bring benefit. On the bike, power training has been used for a number of years and is very, very effective. You see a lot of riders, including myself, doing big gear training. Generally, we'll do them up climbs, but you can also do them on a flat road. The big gear efforts are more about recruiting kind of every single muscle fiber you can. And by turning a very, very low gear or low cadence, but a big gear over, you're recruiting and utilizing your calves, your hamstrings, your quads, but more importantly, your glutes. Your glutes are some of the most underdeveloped and underused muscles, especially when cycling, believe it or not, mainly because they're never fully engaged unless maybe we're out of the saddle really giving it some. And because of the nature of cycling and the position on the bike, and then when we get off and we rest and we sit down and maybe we're at the office all day or something, you tend to really restrict that movement of the glute. A really good rider to follow on Strava, who you can actually see who does these big gear efforts to full effect, is actually Mike Woods from EF Education First. He's worth a follow. So when you're on the day of the event, pacing the climb, the long climb, is actually more than half the battle now, because generally speaking you'll have the fitness and you'll have the ability to conquer the climb or multiple climbs, but pacing may be your biggest issue. So on the day of the event, even though you've been practicing, big gear riding at 50 to 60 RPM to recruit those muscles and getting used to, pushing zone 3 power at those slow cadences, you're going to want to start riding on the day of the event at a comfortable cadence, and you want to try and maintain that for almost the whole climb. And the cadence range we're aiming for is something between 80 and 90 RPM. And the reason being is that it's not too low and it's not too high. So it's kind of like a sweet spot. Now, if you know the climb is going to be 5% for 30 kilometers and no gradient change at all, then you know that you have the correct gears to do that, then that's fine. Now, if you have a climb, for example, that has multiple changes in pitch, and even at the top it gets up to say 20% for a short period of time, you're going to want to have a bigger gear range, a bigger selection, so that you can stay within that optimum 80 to 90 RPM range. A really good example is when I went out and raced the Tour Japan a few years ago, and we did a stage that finished to the top of Mount Fuji, which was a 40-minute climb. The middle section, I'm going to quote now, I had a 36-28 gear ratio, where many of my teammates had a 39-28 or even a 39-25. The 11-kilometer climb averaged 10%, but on a middle section at 1.5 kilometers at 17% average, where my cadence dropped to 72. The whole climb saw me average 84 RPM, which is a pretty neutral cadence. This allowed me to stay seated longer, I was more comfortable, and therefore I conserved more energy for when I needed it the most come the end of the climb. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Tip Tuesday. If you've got any questions, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like those two buttons that are really close to each other down below this video. Share it with your friends if you want to. If you're going out to the Tour de France, I hope you enjoy. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.